Good afternoon and welcome back to another episode of The Longing. Today, you guessed it, we're going to be continuing to read Homer's Iliad. So, let's get going. O heroes, worthy such a dauntless train, whose godlike virtue we but urge in vain, exclaimed the king, who raise your eager bands with great examples more than loud commands. Ah, would the gods but breathe in all the rest such souls as burn in your exalted breast! Soon should our arms with just success be crowned, and Troy's proud walls lie smoking on the ground. Then to the next the general bends his course, his heart exults and glories in his force. There reverend Nestor ranks his Pylian bands, and with inspiring eloquence commands. With strictest order sets his train in arms, the chiefs advises and the soldiers warms. Alastor, Chromius, Haemon round him wait, Bias the good and Pelagon the great. The horse and chariots to the front assigned, the foot, the strength of war, he ranged behind. The middle space suspected troops supply, enclosed by both, nor left the power to fly. He gives command to curb the fiery steed, nor cause confusion, nor the ranks exceed. Before the rest let none too rashly ride, no strength nor skill, but just in time be tried. The charge once made, no warrior turn the rein, but fight or fall, a firm embodied train. He whom the fortune of the field shall cast, from forth his chariot mount the next in haste, nor seek unpractised to direct the car, content with javelins to provoke the war. Our great forefathers held this prudent course, thus ruled their ardour, thus preserved their force. By laws like these immortal conquests made, and earth's proud tyrants low in ashes laid. So spoke the master of the martial art, and touched with transport great Atrides' heart. O, hadst thou strength to match thy brave desires, and nerves to second what thy soul inspires! But wasting years that wither human race, exhaust thy spirits and thy arms unbrace. What once thou wert, O ever mightst thou be, and age the lot of any chief but thee. Thus to the experienced Prince Atrides cried. He shook his hoary locks, and thus replied. Well might I wish, could mortal wish renew, 134, that strength which once in boiling youth I knew. Such as I was when Eurythalion slain, beneath this arm fell prostrate on the plain. But heaven its gifts not all at once bestows, these years with wisdom crowns with action those. The field of combat fits the young and bold, the solemn counsel best becomes the old. To you the glorious conflict I resign, let sage advice, the palm of age, be mine. He said with joy, the monarch marched before, and found Menestheus on the dusty shore, with whom the firm Athenian phalanx stands, and next Ulysses with his subject bands. Remote their forces lay, nor knew so far the peace infringed, nor heard the sounds of war. The tumult late begun, they stood intent to watch the motion dubious of the event. The king, who saw their squadrons yet unmoved, with hasty ardour thus the chiefs reproved. Can Peleus' son forget a warrior's part, and fears Ulysses skilled in every art? Why stand you distant, and the rest expect to mix in combat which yourselves neglect? From you 'twas hoped among the first to dare the shock of armies and commence the war. For this your names are called before the rest, to share the pleasures of the genial feast. And can you, chiefs, without a blush survey whole troops before you labouring in the fray? Say, is it thus those honours you requite, the first in banquets, but the last in fight? Ulysses heard the hero's warmth o'erspread, his cheek with blushes, and severe he said, Take back the unjust reproach. Behold we stand, sheathed in bright arms, and but expect command. If glorious deeds afford thy soul delight, behold me plunging in the thickest fight. Excuse me. Then give thy warrior chief a warrior's due, who dares to act whate'er thou darest to view. Struck with his generous wrath, the king replies, O great in action and in counsel wise! With ours thy care and ardour are the same, nor need I to commend, nor aught to blame. Sage as thou art, and learned in humankind, forgive the transport of a martial mind. Haste to the fight, secure of just amends. The gods that make shall keep the worthy friends. He said and passed where great Tydides lay, his steeds and chariots wedged in firm array. The warlike Sthenelus attends his side, 135, to whom with stern reproach the monarch cried, O son of Tydeus, he whose strength could tame the bounding steed, in arms a mighty name, canst thou remote the mingling hosts descry, with hands unactive and a careless eye? Not thus thy sire the fierce encounter feared, still first in front the matchless prince appeared. What glorious toils, what wonders they recite, who viewed him labouring through the ranks of fight. I saw him once when gathering martial powers, a peaceful guest he sought Mycenae's towers. Armies he asked, and armies had been given, not we denied, but Jove forbade from heaven, while dreadful comets, glaring from afar, forewarned the horrors of the Theban war. 136. Next sent by Greece, from where Asopus flows, a fearless envoy he approached the foes. Thebes' hostile walls unguarded and alone, dauntless he enters and demands the throne. The tyrant feasting with his chiefs he found, and dared to combat all those chiefs around. Dared and subdued before their haughty lord, for Pallas strung his arm and edged his sword. Strung with the shame within the winding way, to bar his passage 50 warriors lay. 2 heroes led the secret squadron on, Mason the fierce, and hardy Lycophon. Those 50 slaughtered in the gloomy vale, he spared but one to bear the dreadful tale. Such Tydeus was, and such his martial fire. Gods, how the son degenerates from the sire. No words the godlike Diomed returned, but heard respectful, and in secret burned. Not so fierce Capaneus' undaunted son, stern as his sire, the boaster thus begun. What needs, O monarch, this invidious praise, of ourselves to lessen, while our sire you raise? Dare to be just, Atrides, and confess our value equal, though our fury less. With fewer troops we stormed the Theban wall, and happier saw the sevenfold city fall. 137. In impious acts the guilty father died, the sons subdued, for heaven was on their side. Far more than heirs of all our parents' fame, our glories darken their diminished name. To him Tydides thus, my friend, forbear. Suppress thy passion, and the king revere. His high concern may well excuse this rage, whose cause we follow, and whose war we wage. His the first praise were Ilion's towers o'erthrown, and if we fail, the chief disgrace his own. Let him the Greeks to hardy toils excite, 'tis ours to labour in the glorious fight. And with that, we will come to the end of the reading for today, because we are about to hit the time anyway. We're nearly halfway through this book. Nearly halfway through the Iliad. The first part of the Iliad, at least. There is another collection here. So, yeah. thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you all have had and will have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, or night. No matter what time of day it is, I hope you all have a wonderful one of it. And as always, we will be back tomorrow for more of The Longing. Goodbye.